Well, hello, John.
Good morning, Graham.
I'm Graham White.
And John O'Keefe here.
And, John, we were talking this morning. I think you've got something really interesting to talk about.
Yeah, well, what I was saying is I saw a YouTube video about electromagnetism.
All right.
Yeah, and it's sort of quite amazing because I'd never thought about it before, but electromagnetism is the force that holds everything in the material world together. Yeah, it's how atoms stick together in one, in a lump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's how chemical reactions work. It's how electric motors work. Even your car can't run without the electricity, generating for the spark. All of this sort of thing. Yeah, and it's just like it is this major unifying force in the universe, and yet it's something that we, as humans, really only understood, to the extent of being able to use it, from when Maxwell wrote his equations in 1873. It's like 150 years ago.
So, really, this is for want of a better word, a hidden energy. Would that be the right word?
Well, it's. I sort of lectured with what's the guy's name? Feynman, famous physics professor from a while back, and he was saying it's a brute fact, meaning that there is no simpler explanation other than magnetism. It is, and there is no way of explaining that.
So, is magnetism subject also to observation?
Yeah, well, that's the point. That's what the electromagnetic equations of Maxwell's are all about. It's describing, it's giving a way of understanding it so that we can use electricity, like to make this broadcast.
Yeah.
Everything, the microphones, not just the electronics, but the very atoms that make up the computers and all this sort of things held together.
So how does, say, quantum physics fit into this when quantum physics says basically until you observe something, it doesn't exist?
Well, quantum physics, I am not an expert in quantum mechanics by any stretch of the imagination. I can almost get my head around the mathematics of it, but the interesting part is, something like an electron. Sometimes it appears to be a physical object, and sometimes it appears to be an electromagnetic wave. But apparently it is neither. It's not both. It's neither. It is a quantum object or a quantum entity.
So how can we bring this into spirituality and metaphysics?
Well, the thing about electromagnetism that, sort of stunned me is that it is one force that underlies absolutely everything in the physical universe.
Yet we can't see it.
And you can't see it. We can manipulate it. We can see the effects of it, like lightning, or like I said, the way that our lights work, the way that the computer works, everything.
Okay. So from the metaphysical and spiritual point of view, I'm just trying to think on the ways that this would fit in. And my thinking is, for example, most people can't see the energetic body of the physical body. That can still be made up of this material. It's just that it's at a different wavelength or different visualization, or what would you think that would be?
Well, just as you have said that, I started thinking, I think that, like I said, the electron being a quantum entity is that it is neither physical nor electromagnetic in its essence. Our bodies, like the physical body, is held together by the electromagnetic force. What we see is illusion.
And we can't see the electromagnetic force that holds it together. So basically, if presuming that there is another force surrounding that and we can't see it, that still fits into that equation, for want of a word.
Well,
It
well, I'm
fits into
thinking,
that.
yeah, like what it is that, the essence of what makes life cannot be seen, but it can appear in different forms. Yeah, like, and you're sort of saying that if I attune myself, I can see the
Aura.
the aura,
Yeah.
the etheric body or
So
whatever.
it's there because I wish to observe it.
Yeah,
So basically it's having the consciousness of the wish to observe it.
yeah, and this is where the probability comes into play. Like in quantum
Yeah.
mechanics, they have this idea of probability. They have I again don't understand it completely, so don't pick me up if I say the wrong thing.
We're exploring different ways to
Yeah.
bring this science into metaphysics, for whatever the word.
Okay, it's I'm just the filtering system of your regular everyday cognition. Yeah, you buy a new car, suddenly you see that model all over the place, and you never noticed it before. Yeah, you have a filter, as it were, to show what's important, and suddenly you can observe it, even though they were there the whole time. And I'm thinking, this is probability. You've upped the probability of seeing this item.
So basically it's a question of choice. So you've actually, your mind now has the choice of now seeing those cars, because you're now driving it and it's now familiar for you. The choice is, oh, there's my car again. Oh, there's my car again.
It makes the choice more probable.
Probable, yeah.
That's the thing that you flagged something as important. And I'm thinking that the etheric body, the aura, is something of the same sort of thing. Is that if you accept and what do I say, that
You accept it, but the exception is that, so by accepting that there is such thing as an aura, you are then able to see
you
the
are more
aura,
likely to see
see
it.
the aura. Yeah.
And people go, oh well, see, this is the one. It's an hallucination. You just want to see it. And I go, no, like hallucination is when you see something that isn't there.
Yeah.
An illusion is when you see something, but what you're seeing isn't exactly what it is. Classic example is seeing water in the desert, a mirage. It looks like water, but it's a play of light through the atmosphere. What you see isn't, there is something happening.
Yeah.
And I think the aura, like seeing the aura, is a bit like that. You see something and represent it to yourself, but it's...
And somebody might, for example, you might be in, say, a class where you're learning to see the aura. There will be the keys to allow you to open your mind to see that energy.
Yeah, or to increase the probability of seeing it.
You and your probability, but yeah. So it's allowing that part of your mind to see it actually being there, rather than saying, well, I'm now in this physical world, I'm stuck here, this is all that matters. So it's an opening up of something broader than you are.
Yeah, there's that classic example of when the ships arrived from Europe in the Caribbean and the local population couldn't see the ships because they were outside their normal perception, like concepts of what exists in the world. Now, I don't know if that story is true or not, but I went walking in the Himalayas some years ago, and coming from a very flat country, mountains are not, big mountains are not a thing I'm used to. And there was one time there the bus stopped halfway between Kathmandu and Pokhara, and it's just a nondescript tea house in a valley looking very picturesque. And I said, oh, we're bloody hanging here for a while, what's going on? And I was there for a good 10 minutes before I suddenly realised that on the other side of the valley were mountains, almost 180 degrees, mountain peaks, snow-capped. And I got, in my consciousness, I'd filled in the white at the top as clouds, and I didn't see the mountains. Yeah. And this is the sort of thing that does happen, is we do not see things that are not of cultural significance. Yeah.
So we keep on going back to the same old thing, really, in the sense that how you're brought up and how you think and how you're designed to think through all the family contacts and all the rest of it and peers and the rest of it colours everything you do. So being able to open one's mind to other things allows you to see other things. As in quantum physics, it doesn't exist until you see it. And as you're saying, this magnet, what do you call it? Magnetism.
Oh, sorry. It does exist. How you see it is what changes.
It changes. So it's allowing yourself to see it.
Yeah.
And that's what it goes. So what it then, to me, from my perspective on the spiritual sense, then it allows you to realise that if you can't see that, what else there is you can't see?
Exactly, yeah.
Is there more to things you're not seeing? Are there other levels of existence on this planet, for example, which has the same engineering or physics behind
there's
it, but is not visible because you're not conscious of it?
Well, that's the thing, yeah.
So is there really fairies in the garden? That's what I really want to know.
Oh, I'm sure there are, Graham.
No, but I'm just again, if you're conscious that there are, you probably will meet them and see them. Now, isn't that an illusion or is that reality?
Yeah.
Only you can answer that question. Nobody else is. Nobody else can.
Yeah, it's also, you see it in the language of colour.
Yeah.
Yeah, languages develop over time, and as they develop, they include more words for different colours. Yeah, and some languages do not distinguish between green and blue, for example. Yeah, and it's this this cultural adaptation where the words appear in the language that makes it okay to see these differences, and that's the kind of thing structures our cognition. We see what we expect to see. Very much so, and we're trained to, only solid matter is real, then that's what we see. We ignore all these other influences.
But sometimes the mind is open to other things for some reasons you don't understand. Like when we talked in the previous podcast when I went and had my confirmation and had the energy come down. I wasn't prepared for that, but part of me allowed it to happen. What part of me it was, so that I became conscious of that particular energy, and so that again brings you back to the same thing: is that basically it's about starting to become conscious of something. Now, for me, that was a trigger to something else. It means, okay, if this energy I felt really exists, what else is there? So I'm opening my mind up for other areas of energy which I can't perceive in this physical world as I stand at that moment. And I use that word "at that moment" because, again, once my mind then says, oh, hold on a moment, there's more to this than I think, my mind is open to other variants of the same energy in a different space or level, or whatever way you like to call it. So if you suddenly realize that you have a psychic episode, you suddenly realize, oh, this is possible. And so therefore you're opening up that energy level of consciousness to bring in that electromagnetic version of that into your life. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, like one of the things I was thinking is while you were speaking was curiosity is always good. What's going on? How does this work? And one of the my unusual experience to me is I can feel the emotion in other people.
Yeah.
And I remember, when I first noticed this, I was having some minor interaction with a person who owed me money, and he thought he'd paid, and I thought he hadn't. And I remember I was talking to him, and I was feeling very anxious, and I sort of went, what's wrong here? And then it suddenly hit me that it was his feeling, not mine. And I went, oh. And it didn't stop me from feeling the anxiety, but the attribution. I had made an error of attribution. I had attributed it to self when it was like a radiation coming at me. Yeah. And as soon as I went, oh, that's him, I was calm again. And it was sort of, very interesting. It's one of those, moments that you're talking about, like, is this real? And I felt it, it does feel to me like the emotional state is something that radiates from people.
Let me just put it another way. In life, you have certain goals and whatever. Once you have the intent, then the intent is the driver forward. So, for example, you've read a book and you've read it about some spiritual thing or whatever it may be, or talking to dead people, for example. So once you've had the intent, well, I wouldn't mind doing that. So you're making the intent of it. Now, the intent is the driver. So that's then opening the mind to allow you to educate the mind, for example, to go further. And then the intent is, are you then taking that the electromagnetic field and expanding its opening into another area of existence?
Well, I think so. And I think the important thing there is, like, if I read about it in a book and I think about it and I have the intention to see it, for me, it is then to let it happen. Not to, it was what we were talking about before. You work and work and work and try to get something done.
Mm.
And it's only when you stop and then suddenly, bong, the idea pops into your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing is that I look at things and I go through it and go, yes, well, this sounds reasonable. I wonder if
and it
happens.
doesn't always come from yourself. It can come from somewhere else or from left field or somewhere else.
Exactly what I mean. Yeah.
But it's having that energy to create whatever it is. So what I'm trying to get at here is that we're all actually creators in our own right. We just everything is totally coloured by our upbringing, which is part of what we were talking before. But what we're now bringing into this whole thing is that there's an energy that drives all this stuff, which holds everything together, and we are capable at a conscious level to actually, what's the word, use or manipulate or become part of. I don't know whether what word is right here. So by having the focus on something that you don't normally see, you can then see it. Now, but it's the same energy structure that drives everything in the physical world, but in a different form.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, you're talking about, well, I'll call it opening the door of opportunity. Yeah.
Always so practical, John. Always so bloody practical.
No, but seriously, it is, again, it's like seeing the car that you've just bought. You go, is this possible? Yeah. And the other thing that I was thinking about when you were talking was that, meaning, the concept of meaning. We create meaning. When I say these words, it's just vibrations in the air, another electromagnetic phenomena.
Yeah.
The elasticity of the air particles. You create the meaning within yourself. And it's the same thing, is that if I open myself to the idea that I have greater perception than is normally accepted, I can have this, and I allow it to infuse my consciousness, that I can perceive other things. But just like sight, I don't make my vision work. I allow the light to come in and form images. It's an automatic thing, and I think it's the same in this so-called psychic senses. If you allow it, you look, it looks reasonable, will it happen? Can it happen? Will it happen to me? And look softly. I think, does that make sense? Yeah.
I think I know what you're meaning. You're saying. I think where I'm coming from a little bit more is that this energy exists in the physical world and drives everything in the physical world that we know. There's nothing to say that that also operates out of our physical world in another, in the same form, but we as individuals are able to move our consciousness. So when we become aware, which is the quantum physics thing, we can then become aware of other forms of it, and therefore that we can use to build our own consciousness in another way.
Yeah. Here's one for you. Your body radiates electromagnetic waves.
Yeah.
Yeah. People go, again, ever see an infrared photograph?
Yeah.
Yeah. Our eyes don't see in the infrared, but, your body, at night time stands out on an infrared because it's radiating electromagnetic energy.
And that might apply to, say an aura camera. So people who actually have real aura cameras that actually take pictures of the aura.
Yeah,
Is it picking up it's picking up the energy that you're radiating in another form?
Yeah, like there's like I said, the fact that the body radiates energy is a physical fact. What other energies it might be radiating? Yeah.
So let's try and close this off and try and make it into a simple form for the viewer and listener. So I think what we're saying is there's this energy that holds everything in the physical world together. That energy can be not manipulated the right way. You can be conscious of that energy in other forms once you allow your mind to accept that new dimension, for other words, or new modality. So you then become aware of it, and then you can work with that energy as a human being. In the physical world, it drives things and makes things work and blah, 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 which we discussed. But this is taking it to another level where your consciousness then becomes aware of it, as in quantum physics, you become aware of something that exists. So you become aware of it, and then because you become aware of it, it can then take different forms, which can aid you as a human being in a different way. Have I gone on too far with that, John?
I don't think so. It's basically things are more than they seem to be.
Yeah.
Our perceptions are limited both by the physicality and by cultural influences. And we can become aware, if we allow ourselves, we can become more aware of, we can increase our awareness beyond the cultural limitations, by acknowledging.
And it's broader, and it's actually broader than things like psychic ability, aura viewing, and all that. It's all broader than that. In fact, I would suggest that this energy you're talking about is an opening to much more than that. It's not. From our perspective, it's probably limitless. And we can actually, that once we observe it, or once we are conscious of it in that form, we can keep on building on that. For example, you can build on your psychic ability, you can build on talking to dead people, just for example. All those things from the metaphysical, spiritual world, it allows you to move forward. It is part of the mechanics of our consciousness. And I'm getting here that one of the things that we're meant to do when we're here on this planet, which most of us don't do, is to actually step into this energy and work with it. Because we are creators of our life, whether we like it or not, although it's not done consciously in most cases, it's done subconsciously. But once you make the conscious decisions to change that and look at why you're doing things, then everything alters. But this is the next level up from that.
Yeah. Well, as I say, I used electromagnetism as a model. And if we have a look, Maxwell wrote his equations, and next thing you know, we've got electric lights, we've got irons and heaters and electric fans and in 150 years, we've got the world of today, which basically runs on this electricity.
See, I mean, for me, for example, in the tarot cards, you got the magician. The magician is limitless.
Ah,
The magician can do so much. So that card really says you're not limited to just this. You're far greater than that.
yeah, I see the magician as, you can have one track, like one of the suits of the tarot.
Yeah.
But on the table in front of him, he's got all four.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's by having a greater view of the four rather than sitting in one and thinking it's all of reality.
It's like you're into one focus only. So rather than or a couple of focuses, where it might be material and emotional, you're stuck there. But if you have all four working for you, and the magician, and you become the magician, you then are able to open up another form of consciousness.
Yeah, I think so.
So what I'm getting at here is, to finalize from my point of view, is that this energy you're talking about is a vehicle for us to open our consciousness even more.
Yep, it's the entry point.
Entry point. Well, what about you, John? But I think that's about it.
Oh, right. That was just the doorway.
Yeah. What happens? Well, people, we go call about a bunch of beams to the doorway. Where do you go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, take care, everybody, and thanks for listening.
Okay. Hope to see you on the next one. And thumbs up, write a comment, or whatever.
We'll
do the normal stuff.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.